Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's your man, damednydc. Two mics up, season 4. We back at it again. And today, man, we're gonna have a real fire conversation, man. I'm just gonna throw it out there. You got to protect your intellect when you come to business, come to your brand, being an entrepreneur. Today's guest is really gonna hopefully enlighten us, and you really learn about protecting yourself and your business and your intellect when it comes to running your brand. I'm going to say it again: protect your intellect. And I'm going to bring in today's guest, and I'm going to let this amazing woman uh, really talk about who she is, what she does, and how she can help you in your brand and your business. Without talking anymore, I'm not going to spill any more, Chanaye. I'm going to allow you, please, introduce yourself to today's audience.
Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Chanaye Jackson. I am an intellectual property and business attorney. I own my firm, CDJ Legal, where we specialize in trademarks, copyrights, contracts, and business formation. And today we're just going to talk about a bit more about that and what that entails and what that involves and how I could be of service to you. So, just a little bit about myself. I'm located here. My office is located in Timonium, Maryland, right up the street from Towson. I grew up in Baltimore City, so not New York City, as you like to talk about all the time, but in Baltimore City, also a popular city as well.
Hmm.
Um, and I kind of had this idea of becoming an attorney when I was about 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
It's been a long road here, but I'm really grateful to be here and to be able to open my own law firm. Not everybody uh, will follow through and actually proceed forward with your dream. And so that's a part of my brand and a part of my business is helping people proceed with their dream. So I like to make sure all the legal avenues that you need to take when you own a business, I like to walk people through that process and make it easier for them. So
What was that moment that really for you shined a light or sparked a light in you to say, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to get into law.
sure. So I can start a bit earlier. So I think Damon, we've spoke before about this. I have no problem sharing this. When I was 3 years old, my father was killed, and then a year later, my mother passed away. And I grew up, like I said, in the city in Sandtown, the area with the whole Freddie Gray thing,
Hmm.
with my grandmother. And you see some things that make you like question, like, is this real? Like, do people even get out of this? And I think when I was about 16 years old, maybe 15, I had a conversation with my uncle who was saying, like, what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, not even thinking about college at that time. And I said, well, maybe I'll be a nurse. And he was just like, well, if you think you can be a nurse, you can be a doctor as well. And I think that was one of the things that kind of stuck with me.
Hmm.
I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. And for some reason, I did like this paper. We did a paper for my senior year, and it really just like the analysis and everything I did made me think like, maybe I should do like pursue law. And
Mm.
at that age, at that time, that's when I pursued it, and I not pursued it, but I decided that that was what I wanted to do as a career. And that
Hmm.
was really the time where I just made that choice to say, I wanted to do law. And so I kind of followed up with that once I went to college, obviously. I majored in English because I knew I needed to kind of improve on my reading and my writing skills because I felt like maybe I was at a disadvantage growing up where I
Mm.
grew up at,
Right.
not having all of the resources. So I majored in English to get myself in the habit of reading and writing and analyzing.
Hmm.
Um, and I knew that would be the kind of stepping stone for me to learn and get into law school and
Right.
understand the kind of the jargon and everything. And I would do Also, was called Word of the Week on Wednesday.
Okay.
So I would learn a new word every week on Wednesday, and
Mm-hmm.
incorporate that into my definition. And I did that for all 4 years. That's
Wow.
the way I explained it. My expanded my vocabulary because, like I said, sometimes you feel like if you're at a like disadvantage, you have to put yourself in a position to be on equal footing with
Mm.
your peers.
I want to ask, law, because you really did something that one I find impressive. You started your own law firm, and I'm
Thank
going to
you.
get to that. I'm going that like kudos to you, sis. Like that's
Thank you.
impressive. I mean, I don't care what nobody says. That's impressive.
Thank you.
Um, but coming out and really, I guess why, you know, intellectual law, property law. Why did you specifically choose that field? For I guess to your drill down or your niche to really work on and help others with.
Yeah, so is a great question. It was honestly, I would love to say it was, it was what I always knew. It wasn't something I always knew, but a lot of things in life are kind of process of elimination. I was a paralegal for 10 years prior to going to law school. Actually, no, it
Mhm.
was about 10 years prior to passing the bar.
Okay.
So I worked as a paralegal while I was in law school, and I knew like working at these different law firms. I knew I didn't want to do criminal law. I did not want to do like workers' compensation and all these different types. It was kind of process elimination, like I stated before. And once I started to get into intellectual property, I'm thinking, okay, the question is, how can I help the most amount of people kind of make their dreams come true? And this was the best way
Mm,
for me. This is the way that, for people who don't know, when you get your trademark, is your way of owning your brand. It's not just you opening your LLC or your corporation. Is the way that you actually own a brand that your consumer sees. So
mm,
this was a way for me to make sure that people have their contracts together, that they're not being taken advantage of, or they're not in a bad position because they didn't understand the jargon in their contracts.
mhm,
And that was really the driving force for me to choose business and intellectual property as the area of law that I wanted to specialize with my practice.
mm. And see, and that's the beauty because I know people will probably when they watch this or see this, oh, like, wait a minute, business intellectual, like, and in the simplest terms, because I know when you and I talked, same thing. This is it can be a pretty vast
Yes,
thing,
yes,
or area to
yes,
cover. But
yeah,
can you just kind of expand a little bit
yeah.
more when we're talking about intellect and some of the vast areas that you cover with on a daily basis with maybe a new client or a past client?
Sure, sure. So let me just try to explain trademarks and copyrights and kind of relate those things together because I know, there was a point where I didn't know what the difference was between those things. I didn't know how they related to a business. So a trademark, um, things that people typically get trademark is a name. So your
Hmm.
business name, CDJ Legal, your business slogan. For
Hmm.
McDonald's, it would be "I'm loving it,"
Hmm.
or your logo. For
Mm.
McDonald's, it will also be their golden arch. Right? When we
Right.
see that, we know that is McDonald's.
Right.
Right? So your trademark is essentially your brand. It actually is also a color. You can get colors trademark. So Tiffany blue for the women who like Tiffany,
Who
that is
knew?
actually a trademark. So when you see that brand, if another brand, a jewelry company were to try to use that color and associate with an association with jewelry, likely they may get it like a cease and desist
Oh wow.
from Tiffany's attorneys. Yes. So the slogan, let's walk through a slogan, right? Let's get
Hmm.
ready to rumble. I use this all the time, and I know we spoke about this.
Hmm.
Let's get ready to rumble. Michael Buffer owns that slogan.
Right.
Right
Right.
before he even said the slogan, before he ever said it, he filed a intent to use trademark, and once he used it, he filed a use-based trademark, and I'll explain
Hmm.
the difference between those two. But
Please,
the point
please.
is, he filed it prior to using it. Once he used it, obviously he then had the trademark for it,
Hmm.
and he's made $400 million off of licensing that
Ooh.
slogan. Right, so this is the power of kind of believing in yourself and knowing the legal steps you need to take in order to own your slogan, in order to own
Mm.
your name, in order to own your brand, right? Even your logo. So
Wow.
$400 million off his licensing alone, and you can look
Wow.
that up.
Wow.
Yes.
My head. I don't even think y'all saw. My head popped off. came back, and I was just like, I just, I, man, look, I'm confused. I'm just confused. Okay, I'm just going. I'm like that's just all I can say. So if you could though, because you did say if you could just and ladies and gentlemen, I do want you to know that you guys are only getting a taste because you do have to sit down. You're gonna have to consultate with this sister. Y'all gonna have to pay for this, but she's kind of we're gonna give you a little tip of the iceberg. But if you could
Yeah.
kind of explain the difference between the two, as you were mentioning, and the Michael Buffer scenario.
Yeah, sure. So I intend to use, so there's different types of applications for a trademark. Intend to use trademark is exactly that, is when you intend to use the slogan or the name or the logo, but you haven't used it yet, right?
Okay. Hmm.
Whereas a use-based one is one where you can show that you're already using it. So let's say CDJ Legal, I have a special that I'm running, or I have a website, and I can show that it's already being used in commerce, right?
Hmm.
He did not, before that point, with his logo, I mean, I'm sorry, with his slogan, he had not used it yet. So it's a intent to use, and you have 6 months to use
Oh.
it.
Okay.
You have
Oh.
6 months to use it. So let's say, you're filing this application right now and you're saying, oh, you know what? I'm not using it yet, but I know, in a future show or in a future this, I'll use it within 6 months. And once you can show that you're using that slogan or that name or
Hmm.
that logo, then it becomes a use-based application. So now
Okay.
you're using it, so it becomes a different, application that you can show
Mm-hmm.
um, that is now being used in commerce.
Wow. Before we continue this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, because we want to get a little bit deeper into, you know, what type of clients maybe you have or ideal clients that you would look for. But before we get into that, I want to take a few minutes to go ahead and shout out, our sponsors, and advertisers here on Two Mics Up, and we'll be right back after the break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we back out the break here today with this amazing young woman and sister, Chanaye Jackson of CDJ
Mhm.
Legal. But curious to know for you, um, what I don't want to say ideal client, but what type of clients do you usually find that you coming across, like, initially, and like what does that process looks like? Hey, I come to you and I say, Chanaye, I want to work with you in CDJ Legal. Like, kind of, if you could just give us a short walk through the process, how that starts, what it looks like, and really the type of client that maybe you're dealing with, right now.
Sure. So I would say, firstly, with this, you don't know what you don't know all the
Mm,
time. So the
mm,
first step, I think, is coming in and getting a consultation. The ideal client looks like the person who is, has a business, but you're unsure whether you have the proper contracts in place. If you have a business partner, you don't know if you have the operating agreement, or if your operating agreement properly represents your interest. Um, it's for, artists, I mean, artists of all sorts, painters and writers, or musicians, producers, who also may need contracts or copyrights for their works, their original works. Obviously trademarks, we went over that as well. So people who own your name, your business name, your business slogan, your logo. And I like to clarify for the people who don't know, like, if you don't have your, like, owning a business is not the same thing as owning your brand, right?
mm,
Those are two separate things. Someone can have, let's say, Chanaye's Pizza. If I own a pizza place here called Chanaye's Pizza here in Baltimore, and then someone else owns it in Washington State, right?
mm-hmm,
I don't want it to be the case that I have a line out the door and then someone thinks Chanaye's Pizza in Washington State is the same business, and then they go there and they're like, oh, the pizza was horrible, right?
Got you.
You don't want
Got you.
people associating the brand that I've built with someone else's brand, right? And you want to
Mm,
be able to say that, enforce it and be able to say, listen, this is my name, this is my brand. And if someone tries to take that brand, you can enforce it legally because you own your trademark. Owning an LLC is not the same thing as owning your trademark and owning your brand name. Owning your business corporation is not the same thing as owning your brand.
mm,
Those are two separate things. And so for me, as I stated before, the ideal client looks like the person who is unsure of if their legal ties, everything is all tied up, and they're not sure whether they have the proper contracts, whether they even form their business correctly. Is your
mm,
business in good standing?
mm-hmm.
You want to make sure all of those things are together, and make sure
Wow.
they're all like tied in the right places, and that um, everything is something where you can understand that you're sure that if something occurs, or God forbid something comes up, that you're protected. And that is
Mm-hmm.
what intellectual property is essentially protecting your name, your brand, everything that you're trying to build, so that someone doesn't come in and take your brand. I had a
Right.
customer come in, not a customer, I'm sorry, I didn't call it a customer. I had a
Client.
client come in. I had a client come in, and he had his business for 10 years. He decided after 8 years to get his trademark.
Mm-hmm.
And when he filed for his trademark, he was unable to get his name because someone had filed for the same name a year before. And so he
Wow.
wasn't able to use his own name. He has to rebrand. But that is something that happens when you don't protect your intellectual property, and
You
you're not able to, you're not in understanding of what you need to protect in the first place.
what are some of the misconceptions um that people have, or when maybe sitting down with you,
Hmm.
when it comes to their so-called, in their mind, their intellectual property?
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm pretty sure you probably have a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of crazy stories, but like just things that you just sit and shake your head like, no, that's not how it works.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
share maybe one or two stories about how people's
Sure.
misconception when it comes to that?
Sure. So I think that one of the biggest misconceptions is that if you own your business, what I just spoke about before, that you automatically own your name, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's a big misconception. Your business is separate from the brand itself.
Right.
The brand is owned through the trademark. It is
Mm.
superior to, like, pretty much, is the superior legal protection as
Mm.
far as owning your brand. So those two are not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think what some things, points of confusion for people are what's a copyright versus what's a trademark. How I like to explain that,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I know
Mm-hmm.
people say that all the time. They're like, I don't understand the difference between the two. So um, a copyright is essentially a right to copy, right?
Okay.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what the name is. It's so when you see movies or you see like TV shows, I want you to look for that little C at the end, or that copyright
Mm-hmm.
at the end that
Mm-hmm.
you see. And you'll start to notice it now that I'm saying something. You'll see copyright. It's essentially they filed for a right to copy that,
Mm.
those things. Whereas a trademark is pretty much the outside of your business. So it's what
Mm-hmm.
consumers see when they look at your business. It's the golden arch. Is I'm loving it. It's the slogan.
Right.
It's what you see. Whereas the copyright is what you do. So this podcast, the content
Mm.
itself, you would get a copyright. Whereas the two mics up, the name
The
would be the
trademark.
trademark.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that would be the
Mm.
trademark. The copyright would be, the podcast itself. So it's what you
Mm-hmm.
do with your business, or
Right.
what you do with what you trademark. So those are, I guess, not misconceptions per se, but misunderstandings that people have
Standings.
about what the difference is between a copyright and a trademark. And then also that, owning your business is the same thing as owning your brand. And the last thing I would say is, the other big misconception is that people get state trademarks.
Mm-hmm.
That does not protect you federally. A federal
Right.
trademark, yes, a federal
Mm-hmm.
trademark is different from a state trademark.
Mm-hmm.
When what I do is I do federal trademarks, so it protects you in all of the states. So that is different again from a state trademark, and it's also different, which is different from owning a business in a particular state.
Up today, Shanae, I do want to ask you, and I'm just curious to know. So we all been dealing with the pandemic.
Yes.
It's ravaged our country and our neighborhoods, and many of us, our businesses. How has the pandemic, had, if it is, or if it's had an impact on you, and if it did, how did you pivot, or how have you been able to pivot to kind of keep your success and keep your business, striving and moving forward?
Sure. So this business was started. I started this business during the pandemic. I have a
Mm.
virtual business, and
Mm-hmm.
so this is like ideal for me. I can still speak with customers. I think more people actually at home. More people are actually looking to now protect their intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
With people being at home or people having time off or switching gears. I know with the I don't know if it's called the Great Resignation.
Yeah.
A lot of people are looking to, yeah, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are looking to pursue their dreams, to kind of double down on their goals and stuff like that. So for me, it's um, not that the pandemic has been great at by any stretch, but
Right. Right.
for me, business has picked up more because I think more people are looking to now pursue their dreams and make sure that they're on task with their goals and opening their businesses. Like I stated before, a part of my business is opening, starting to form businesses. So kind of from conception to execution of like the trademarks, owning your brand itself, and
Mm-hmm.
having all of those like things in place to in order to start your business. But I would say personally, for me, being at home more, I was like, you know what, this is one of those things where I'm either going to be eating all day and and just gaining weight and going crazy and kind of just losing myself in my refrigerator. But I was like, you know what, I switched gears and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to take time to work on mindset. I try to be like a holistic brand.
Mm-hmm.
um, so I will be coming out with a booklet soon.
All
But
right.
I think that working on your mental health every
Mm-hmm.
day. I have a book that I write in every single morning to set my intentions for the day. All of this kind of has, during the pandemic, was seeing so many different things transpire over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Not just the pandemic, but a lot of different other things
Yeah.
transpire over the last
Yeah.
2 years. I think it could be really draining if
Mm.
you're not focused on having a positive mindset because,
Yes.
if you don't set your intentions and your positivity for the day, the world will set it for you. And
Woo.
so I have been in my planner every single morning. I'm in my I wish I had it here with me, my morning minute. It's called Morning Minute. And
Mm-hmm.
every single day I write down something I'm grateful for. I write down
Wow.
how I want my day to go. And I
Wow.
make sure there's positive intentions every single day. So those are things I started during the pandemic, not just my business, but shifting my mindset
Yeah.
and going to
Yeah.
the gym to, keep my head on the right way.
Look,
So,
I love it, and I want to say kudos to you. I had another sister on last season. Same thing. We got to get out of the mindset. Sometimes you have to write it,
mm-hmm.
think it,
Yep.
and speak it
Yep.
into existence
Yep.
for it to happen.
Yeah.
And so many of us don't really understand that, and it's really true. I love what you said. Everything that's going on in this world seems like now it's not even every day. It seems like almost every minute
Yep.
we're being bombarded with something else
Yes.
that it's negative. It's draining on us
Yep.
mentally, which drains you physically.
Yeah.
We're finding it harder and harder every day to move forward. And I loved your affirmation and everything that you said. And I hope that, and this really from the bottom of my heart, this is the main reason why I love doing this show. If one person walks away hearing something, whether it be from me or my guests, that they can take to turn around and positively make a change in their life, then I've done my job, because we need so much more positivity in
Yeah.
our world, in our community, and in our lives.
Yep.
And it just means so much. And I thank you for
Yep.
sharing those words, because hopefully someone will hear it and make that a part of their life
Yep.
and bring it into existence. So, Shanae, thank you
Yes.
for your time, just sitting here rocking with me today. I do want to allow you, before we go, to please go ahead and share, your social media, your
Yeah.
website, where people can find you. Because listen, and you do work, like I said, virtually. So you're national.
Yes.
Occur- Okay, look here, people. You don't get this. This is national. This national.
Yes.
You get your stuff together. Get your pen, your paper. Reach out, support this sister and everything that she's doing. Chanaye, please go ahead and share your information.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share. So, yes, as you said, I am a trademarks are federal, so I can do trademarks in any state. Um, but I'm sorry, not my email address. My website address is www.cdj.legal. That's right behind us, www.cdj.legal. Not any .com or anything. It's cdj.legal. I'm just doing things differently.
Okay.
My Instagram account is Chanaye _Esquire ESQ. Sorry, it's not even the whole Esquire. It's just ESQ. So that's my name, my first name, CHANAYE _ underscore ESQ. Also, feel free to call if you have questions or email me. My email address is Chanaye at cdj.legal. So that's CHANAYE at cdj.legal. Or my phone number, my phone number as well. That's 443-904-1296. I can be reached on that as well if you have questions. Want to just call you have questions, you're not sure if you need a consultation, you're not sure what you need at all, just call me, reach out. I love to talk to people. I love to help people. That's what I'm here for. I started this because I want people to feel like they're not so intimidated and overwhelmed by what they need to be in good legal standing, or to have the proper things to own their intellectual property in their businesses. So thank you so much again for giving me this platform to make people aware and to talk here. So thank you.
No, you thank you, one, for taking time out. It means the world to me, and it means so much more to me to be able to offer you an additional place and space to share your talents. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, all of her web information, her social media, and all of that. We're going to drop that down here, you know, in the description so that you can reach out. We're going to make sure we support Chanaye and what she's doing moving forward. It's just been an amazing show, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
and Two Mics Up family. Uh, I hope you all enjoyed, another great conversation, another great guest. This is what we do. Before we go, I do want to close and just let you know, season 4, we're moving on to bigger and better things. We're moving to a brand new TV network, trying to highlight and shine. And if you are looking or interested in advertising, come on over, man. Expand your brand with us here at Two Mics Up. Hit us up online, uh, send us an email, and we'll do what we can do to work together and try to help uplift each other in our community and expand each other's brand and expand our footprint in today's tough marketplace. It's been a great show. You know how we always do at this time, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow Two Mics Up online, www.twomicsup.com. You can follow us across all our social media, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Two Mics Up. And while you're here, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead down there, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you go over there and you hit that bell before you go so that you can be notified about all the newest content coming to you from us here at Two Mics Up. And like we do at this time, stay safe, stay blessed. Mics out.
007.